I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The Real Real, the best place to shop authenticated luxury bags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I'm obsessed with gold bracelets. I just found the most beautiful Fendi bracelet. Now, you can scour The Real Real for new pieces. There are 10,000 new items every day. The Real Real is attainable luxury that upgrades your personal style. With up to 90% off retail, you can finally have the pieces that you've been dreaming of from brands like Gucci, Fendi, and Prada. The Real Real is great for the planet and for your wardrobe. They're finding new homes for over 37 million authenticated luxury items, so they know firsthand the impact that resale has on the planet. And it's the go-to place for your next special piece. Think about all the fun things that you have coming this spring and summer. The Real Real is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. With thousands of new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The Real Real. So now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/KateCasey. That's therealreal.com/KateCasey to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/KateCasey.
Are you ready to rock big savings? Rakuten's Big Give Week is a festival of savings with 15% cash back at hundreds of stores. We're talking 15% cash back at Expedia, Ray-Ban, Stanley, and more. Shoppers in the know get the best savings when they use Rakuten. They shop the brands they love and earn cash back on top of deals. Big Give Week is only once a year, and the cashback rates are through the roof. I'll be shopping for some new beauty products and home essentials while getting 15% cash back on it all. I get my cash back sent directly to my PayPal, and it feels so good whenever I see it hit my account. Join for free today and get a $20 welcome bonus. Hurry! Big Give Week ends May 12th, and there won't be an encore. Go to Rakuten.com or download the Rakuten app. That's RAKUTEN, Rakuten.com.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Today, my guest is Ally Lewber. Ally first appeared on a reality show in 2014 on a show called The Valley. Now, it's not The Valley that you're thinking about. This one was a show that followed 6 recent high school graduates navigating life in the suburbs of all places, Dayton, Ohio. Well, years later in 2023, she would make her debut on Vanderpump Rules on Bravo during the premiere of season 10 when she started dating cast member James Kennedy. Again, if you're unfamiliar with that show, it's about a group of friends living in Los Angeles. Well, during the season 10 of Vanderpump Rules, the show was really dominated by this explosive scandal affair that reshaped the show's dynamics and the cast relationships forever. And the central storyline was about Tom Sandoval's affair with Raquel, another cast member, which was discovered by Tom's girlfriend, Ariana, in March of 2023. Ariana found a FaceTime video of Raquel and Tom on his phone, and it led to a confrontation that ended their 9-year relationship, and also the friendship with Raquel. So Ally and James, who were also in that season, they ended their relationship in January of 2025, following a domestic violence incident in December of 2024. He was arrested on suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence after an argument outside of his home. Now, she addressed that situation on Instagram. She stated that the argument stemmed from his drinking issues and clarified that she was not physically hurt and expressed gratitude that prosecutors decided not to file charges, as she had never desired criminal action, and also mentioned being shocked by the headlines and disheartened by how the event was portrayed. Now, I bring this up because in this episode, we discuss how that relationship impacted her emotional well-being and how she's been able to move forward. I love talking to Ally. She's very bubbly. She kind of looks like Kendall Jenner, beautiful and kind, and you can hear just how generous she is. She's an only child whose mother seems to be a bit of a free spirit and encouraged her to move to California, a pretty daunting move across the country for a young girl without real industry connections. And then she ends up on this huge reality show. And then she's in this complicated relationship. But as you will hear, she's not a typical cast member on a reality show. Instead of wanting to be a star, she was essentially chasing stars because she's also an astrologist. And you know, this is right up my alley. She hosts her own podcast. It's called StarStruck with Ally Lewber. Now, during the end of the episode, she reads my natal chart, and I kept that part pretty short because I wanted you to hear what it's like to be part of one of her readings or if you were a guest on her podcast. It was so fun and light and an interesting experience. And I wanted to give you like a taste of it. But ultimately, I think what I'm going to take away from this interview is how daunting it can be, again, to move across the country, to become part of a reality show that is really talked about throughout the world when you're that young in your 20s and you're in this relationship that is so unsettling, and how you move out of that. Now, she happened to be relying on her own intuition. And of course, she talks about the benefit of a therapist. But I think that so many people are going to listen to this and remember what it was like to be in your mid to late 20s and figuring out who you are and walking out of a bad relationship and leaning into the things that really light you up, make you feel like the best version of yourself. And that in time, you can look at those relationships and have some sort of gratitude for what you learn from it, because ultimately it puts you in a better space where you can make the best decisions about a life partner. So again, I really loved her. And you guys can reach out to her and get your own readings. I left a little bit of mine in it. You might get a little more of a window into my weird personality and things that I think about. But nevertheless, such a fun experience to chat with her. And I definitely feel like I will be in touch with her for quite some time. So here's my interview with Ally Lewber. Ally Lewber. You know what I was wondering the other day? Do people call you Ally or do they just say your full name?
Okay. They tend to say my full name.
Yeah.
Interesting.
People say my full name too. I'm very rarely Kate. It's always Kate Casey.
It's funny because even when I think of you, I think Kate Casey too. Or like when I was in that's it just like rings, it flows.
Yeah.
That name. I don't know if I necessarily love Ally Lewber.
So you're from Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I love this story. I'm from Philly originally. You went to Penn State, which God bless. God bless.
I did online courses there. So I feel like I'm like a fraud. I did. So I went to Nashville, got my degree there. But then
from Belmont, right?
From Belmont. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Penn State, online for a few.
Hey, we'll still take that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We'll take that. Although from Philly, if people say I'm from Ohio, we think of that as the Midwest. Do you think of that as the Midwest?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have to ask you about The Valley, which was this reality show when you're 18.
Oh, yes. My Valley.
Why wasn't that a hit? I would have loved for that to have been a big hit. I mean, listen, not all reality shows have to be in New York, Atlanta, or LA.
Right. Okay, this is so funny. I feel like that show, that I agree with you because the vision behind it was actually really interesting and they were on something, but
it was ahead of its time, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe it was a cute idea, but I feel like it wasn't really built to last type of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like a suburban story.
I know. And it was cute because it's it was all about Dayton and, so it's all these, it's sweet. It's giving love to a city that doesn't get much of it. Yeah. So being able to go to little events and restaurants and support local businesses, it was really cool. And I feel I studied entertainment journalism. So I interned throughout college and worked a lot with, it was WDTN Dayton. And I feel like they were really smart doing some, I don't know, little small towns should do stuff like that and just involve, it gets the community excited,
Yeah. I mean, so you're 18 years old. You're thinking at that point, I want a career on camera, but at more on the the correspondent level. Were you thinking at the time I want to be a Juliana Rancic?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that was exactly correct. I loved E! News and I loved movies. So I love movies. That's always been my first love. So I always knew I would live in LA. I have family there. So I grew up visiting all the time and was just obsessed with it. But I'm so random. I was also into music, very, Taylor Swift. I would play out around town, at the local bars and stuff. In high school, I would bring my guitar and go play at places for a couple hours. So that was kind of my storyline on the show. I was going to go to Nashville and like try to do singing. And so that was kind of like my little storyline. But I didn't really know like what I wanted to do, but I just loved the entertainment industry and I loved movies and music and just stories, honestly, So I was just trying to figure it out.
So at what point do you land in LA? At what age?
So I graduated college in 2018. So I was 21, maybe 22. I'm not good at math. 21 or 22, graduate college. Literally the next day, my family, my mom and stepdad drove me out to California.
So they came as well?
They just drove me and like stayed for the week. And then they went back to Ohio, which they're still in Ohio.
So when your mom leaves you and drives back to Ohio, what's the last thing she says to you?
Ooh, probably like eat healthy, drink water, make sure you're going to the grocery store. Like she's always like she's very like helicopter mom, like not in a bad way, but like only child stuff, I guess. So just probably sure like everything was good. She helped me decorate everything. But she wants to actually move to LA now. She like loves California too. So she always jokes that she's like, she always jokes that I'm living her dream. Cause growing up, she would always be like, I want to do like fun things or like live in LA. And I'm like, thanks for manifesting for me. But yeah.
Well, how do you think that created an environment in your home where you would think of moving to LA? Because let's be honest, a lot of kids that live in suburban towns, the idea of moving to LA or even like cracking the door open in the entertainment industry would have been something that they couldn't even conceptualize. So do you think that there was something about your own home and being an only child that pushed that door open?
Yeah, you're so right. I get it really is like all thanks to my mom because she's just always like since I was little, it's like you can be and do whatever you want. Like so supportive in an almost delusional way, but like it worked. Now I'm like, okay, yay. But at the time I feel like the rest of my family, and like my friends, like they weren't raised that way. It was very like you go to college and you get a normal job and then you like live in your hometown forever. And even now, like a lot of my friends, every time I'm home, I visit all my friends. I'm still really close with them all. And, it's always the same, like parents being like, so do you like it? Like everyone just waiting to be like, oh, I hate it. It's miserable. Yeah.
And I'm moving back to Ohio.
I'm moving back. Right. Like that's like all like, so do you really like it? And I'm like, no, I absolutely love it. I'm obsessed and it's everything. Like, because I really do love it. But it is funny how it's like the expectations, like people just are also like, at least in Ohio, like where I am, they like nobody like likes LA. So I feel
for sure. Yeah. They think like everyone's dumb.
To hate on it.
Love to hate on it. Yep.
They love to hate on it. And so I feel like it always has been, I don't know, I guess I'm good at debating because of that. Like I always was just the one that was a little like in La La Land, literally.
Well, it's interesting talking to you because I feel like you come across so differently when I look back at episodes of Vanderpump Rules. It's almost to me like it's two versions of you because in private life, you're bubbly and you're optimistic and just giddy.
Yeah.
But now that I just even having a moment with you, and maybe because I'm just intuitive too.
Yeah.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You seem like a different person on that show. In fact, as your older sister friend that you didn't know yet, I would watch that show and think, she does not, there's a part of her that does not want to be there. Yeah. It doesn't feel like a good fit. And then especially in scenes with James, like there was one scene you were showing your closet and you made this snide remark like, oh, he picks out my outfits. I just thought she is not happy. I felt like I needed to rescue you.
It's really interesting because I do agree. I think that on that show, like I never really felt like I could fully be myself. And I don't think that that's anyone to blame, probably just me being in my head and being a little bit like shy because I am shy. But yeah, if I'm like one-on-one with people, that's why I love doing readings and stuff because I feel like I'm just more comfortable in like smaller group settings. But like I think now that I'm not dating James, honestly, and I can like really have like a clearer vision of what that relationship was. Like I always thought that I loved that he was so extroverted and so much, and so that I could kind of be more chill. But like now looking back, I do feel like it almost set my like my nervous system into overdrive of having to protect and like make sure that everything is good. And sometimes I did feel like that the controlling aspects, like at the time I would joke like, oh, I love it because like I'm indecisive, you know what I mean? But like looking back now, like there is a part where I do feel like I was always just expected to, I don't know. That's just interesting that you say that.
You were how old when you were dating him?
So I started dating him at 26. Yeah, and I'm 29 now. And so we broke up right before I turned 29. So maybe even I met him at 25. This is about 3 years.
Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
Hi, I'm Allison Marino, host of What's a Podcast, The Revolution Redefined, a new documentary series from Oxford Road and the team behind Age of Audio. We dive into how podcasting exploded into a storytelling revolution and how big tech and big money are threatening its future now. You'll hear from podcast industry heavyweights like Ira Glass, Adam Carolla, Guy Raz, Leo Laporte, the Mycellus Brothers, and more. What's a Podcast? The Revolution Redefined is out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The 20s are such a special period of time. You really are just kind of figuring out who you are. And I guess the benefit of being on a show like that, in many ways, like, great, look, there are great things that come out of it. You get more visibility.
Yeah.
It can also be painful because you have to watch back some moments that forever change your trajectory, your emotional trajectory, right? So I'm sure you look back at moments and went, oh my God, I didn't see that. Or why didn't I protect myself? But they're essential for you to figure out the kind of person that you are, you know, and define your agency, I think.
Yes. Oh my gosh. My therapist has helped me so much with that, of being like, I'm really hard on myself. Like I'm optimistic and like bubbly, but I'm like still a Capricorn. So I'm still like practical and like want to make sure that everyone and everything is good at all times, which isn't possible. And I feel like I would always compartmentalize things and be like, no, I'm good. But then like, she's helping me be like, no, it's okay to look back and be like, I loved him. And so I wasn't thinking straight, and that's okay. There were moments in that relationship where I was thinking with my heart and not my head, and that's okay. So instead of like beating myself up over those things now, like just learning from it, like you said, like it was essential. Like I can read comments all day and listen to people be like, don't do that, or like, why would she do that? But at the end of the day, like we all just live our own truth and learn from them.
The benefit of getting older too, as time goes on, you learn to love those moments in your life where you had a mind shift.
Interesting.
Because they all kind of like thread together, and you learn to like love the younger version of yourself that made mistakes, because the mistakes are the ones that put you in a position where you have more emotional power.
Wow. Yep. And I feel like I'm in the middle of a mind shift, like, because the breakup is not fresh, but I do feel like I'm so much better as of like a month ago than I was like going through it. And so I feel like I am like, even like all like the interviews I'm doing or talking to you, it's like all the little breakthroughs that just add to the evidence of like, I made the right choice, and I get to appreciate that time, but be excited for like my next chapter, which is, it just feels good. But
yeah. Well, think about also, you're going to be a better because of your introspection. And I think this job is so good for it. I can say that for myself too. I mean, over time, you talk to people and you crack people open, and then you start to see elements of your own life. You become a better version of yourself. So eventually that makes you a better friend. It makes you a better business partner, a partner in romance, and it's certainly a better mother.
Wow. That's so beautiful. I love that. And I agree, doing like readings and stuff and just meeting all these different people. It's like a social experiment. It's so fun. Yeah.
Well, even when you were dating him though, because I would want to know this as an astrologer. I mean, I think that we have our own lens. We have our own emotional lens, and we want to believe the best in people, certainly when we're in love with them. But with your ability, and you're looking at someone's natal chart, did you look at his chart and did you see anything and go, this could be an issue? Because I think, listen, all of the women especially that are listening to this, sometimes we don't follow through when we see a sign because we think we have to give somebody the grace. We have to give ourselves grace. But in this case, you're actually seeing on paper a chart that kind of maps out who a person is and what their potential life path could be. Did you see anything?
That is where it gets interesting because and I'm different, I think, than a lot of the astrologers that I follow, because when in a sense where I try to remain very optimistic, like I'm not, of course, I'm not like going to bullshit my clients and stuff. If there's like a crazy transit coming up, I'll be like, hey, like life's about to get a little rocky. Yeah. But like, I do try to look at the positives. Everything's duality, right? Like there's good and bad to every placement. So I try to always lean on the positives. So like, even when I'm looking at a chart, I tend to look for the more positive sides, but I can be like with James's chart, for example, he has a beautiful chart, but a lot of it, I can say would stem from like childhood things or him having to grow up quickly and take care of a lot of people. But in my head, I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet. Like that's his truth, like who am I to judge it? But also I would do this differently now. I think for anybody who does like is into astrology or reads charts, instead of looking at other people's charts and being like, oh, let me like judge them, I need to like, it's doing like synastry charts and seeing like, okay, how does their energy line up with mine? But the tricky part was, which is just astrology, he activated a lot of my 12th house, which is the house that feels very fateful, feels karmic. And so at 25-year-old Ally loved that, right? Like she was like, oh my God, like like he's activating this deep, I feel like I've known him my whole life. Like there's a meaning where now I don't want anyone activating my 12th house anymore. I'm like, it's fine. Like people activate it all the time, but it's like, he's an Aquarius. So basically what happens is because he has a lot of Aquarius energy, that's where my Venus sign lives. I'm an Aquarius Venus and it's in the 12th house. So he would activate that emotional reaction to me personally. That doesn't make it real. That's just, again, how my energy is receiving him. So I do think I learned a lot just from like looking at astrology too, of trying to, you'll never be able to look at someone's chart and be like, we are the perfect match. Like that's just not real. Everybody has good placements, not so good placements. Like that's literally the point of astrology, is to like learn how to balance with each other and to, grow and evolve. So I did learn a lot of just not necessarily using the astrology. I think I used it to make excuses. I really do. I think I used it to be like, but like the 12th house. So it's supposed to feel emotional. It's supposed to feel intense. And now I feel like I don't like want that.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're not going to be the first person that has a terrible relationship, and certainly not the first person that had a public one. I mean, I went through a very emotionally abusive relationship, but just in high school. So I think I had a little bit more time to kind of look at it in the rear view. But I'm here to tell you that all of it, you will find that you're going to be helpful to other people because of what you went through,
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's like what I say in astrology when I do get to the rougher placements and and trying to make people feel like it's like we have to heal ourselves so that we can heal others and be there for them. And honestly, like this sounds kind of crazy, but the fact that it was a public breakup because I'm a very private person, which seems crazy, but I am. And I'm very like, I'm not going to ask for help. Like, I'm not going to really tell people how I'm feeling. But like, so having it public, I feel like it was the universe's way of like, no, you're going to really have to like face it and deal with it. And you're helping me right now. My therapist has helped me. The fans, the comments, like the people.
They'll keep you accountable to your own
it keeps you
advocacy. They're keeping you accountable to your own advocacy. You're right.
That's good for me as a person, like knowing myself. So like, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but in a weird way, I'm like grateful because it does help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to just encapsulate what that experience of being on a television show that became mainstream story, I mean, you're in the tunnel of it, and take me back to that point of time, maybe like the day that, you know, the Ariana Tom story explodes. Did you feel like my life as I know it is totally shifted now? And every person I've ever heard like from ever in my life or met or went to school with is suddenly asking me about this. And it's not even happening to my own life. Like it's someone else's story, but I'm adjacent to it.
Totally. Yeah. You're right. The scandal really did kind of take everything to another level. And it was I feel like with reality TV, and you'll get it, even just being in the industry, and like you have to be on your toes at all times because it's like, oh, okay, they're picking cameras back up. And it's like they're coming over to our apartment because, of course, they want James's like raw reaction. Right. So I feel like everything around that time was just riding the wave. Like, okay, we're just like, we're doing it. And I didn't know what was going on. And it was a crazy time. And I feel like it just never really stopped because then after that, then we went into filming and then everything was just like blowing up. And I feel like we didn't really have time to process like any of it, which I mean, in hindsight, it was fun. I mean, it was like, it's fun and it was like cool. And then at the same time, it like was kind of crazy, but I feel like now I'm able, like therapy has helped me so much to just like walk back and like revisit areas where it's like, oh yeah, I didn't even, because James at that time was we were living together. And so I did feel like I had a solid, like I was in a solid relationship, but like he is not an emotionally, like he wasn't in therapy and things like that. So it was always like, I feel like that relationship was me just trying to regulate him and like check on him and make sure he was good.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I took away from that period.
I always felt like you were kind of like dangling, like not totally sucked into the vacuum, because I think a lot of people get lost in it.
Yeah.
You were sort of on the periphery. And I think maybe your happy self protected you, like there, and you should be grateful for that.
Thank you. Yeah. Wow. I am grateful for that because I know I was always too scared of getting too like lost in the sauce or whatever. And yeah.
But sometimes I was like, I don't know how she even ended up with him.
No, I know. It's wild. And even the fact like the 12th house that I was like telling you about, I had a reading with my astrologer like a week before I met James, and I was actually about to move back to Ohio. For like, I wasn't really going to do it, but I was like in one of those like phases where I was like,
I'm out of here,
and like it's so expensive, and like my rent was going up post COVID, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't really happy with the meteorology courses I was taking. I was like, what am I doing? And she was like, well, you're about to fall in love, and I was like, no, Nina, I need to get my career together. Like my Capricorn was coming out. I'm like, no. She was like, you're about to have so much fun. You're about to travel and you're about to be on TV. And I was literally like, okay, you're crazy. And then literally like 4 days later on my birthday, I met James, and everything just like, happened so quickly. And that's why it was always weird because part of me was like, well, it was written in my chart. And
that was part of your path.
And it was part of my path. So like, so I feel like as uncomfortable as I was, also my birth chart is very exposed, like Jupiter, Sun in the 10th, but then I have all these other placements in the 12th, which wants to be hidden. So I'm like aware that I'm like this contradiction where it's like, okay, I'm being kind of like pushed on a pedestal, but I don't really like it. So I'm like learning how to find that balance. So I don't know. Astrology helped me so much because I was able to like, I don't know. But then also at the same time, did it help me or was I just like...
What is your actual birthday?
January 13th.
Oh, okay. My sister's the 12th.
Oh, cute. Yeah. January 12th is a Capricorn.
She's so different than you though.
That's so funny. So do you know like her moon and rising or any?
No, I don't typically know all of those things. In fact, I don't even know most of them, that of myself.
Okay.
But I feel like I am an absolute Aries.
Yeah.
True, tried and true.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom is an Aries. I love Aries. We actually have a similar, so you're a Libra moon, which so am I, and you're a Pisces rising, and so am I. So when I pulled up your chart, I was like, oh my gosh, we actually have a lot of the same big three, but you do have a lot of Aries energy. I don't have any fire in my whole chart, which is why I think also laws of the universe, right, is we attract the energies we don't have and vice versa, and it's all just balance. And so even dating someone like James, or a lot of my friends are fiery. So it's like, because I'm a lot of water, it's like I don't know, we need that type of energy. But yeah, you are a Pisces rising. So that's very watery. But I think even the fact of like connecting to people and going deeper, like Pisces is all about escapism, but it's like and music and art and books and psychology, spirituality, your intuition. Like when you said you're intuitive, I was like, yeah, you're Pisces rising. Like we can't help but feel everything. Like it's a blessing and a curse, but that's Pisces rising. The rising sign is our everyday energy. Like think of that as our autopilot. Like it's literally the energy that moves us through life. And so being a Pisces, like for both of us, we move through life in a very watery, flowy way. It's really based off of how we feel. So if we're not feeling our best, then we're not going to move well. And in fact, we could get really tired and exhausted. But if we're taking care of ourselves spiritually, mentally, all the things, then we're great. And we can show up and heal because that's what water does. Then you're a Libra moon. The moon for both of us, for Libra moons too, Libras are social. They're an air sign that loves connecting to people. So I think why you do what you do, I love doing readings. And it's like we like to go a little bit deeper and like form bonds with people.
Claude is the AI assistant from Anthropic that millions of people have turned to just because it feels different. We've all tried AIs that come across a little robotic, but Claude gets it when it comes to empathy and emotional intelligence. That's why Claude has become the if you know companion for tasks like vision boarding, self-reflection, planning a move to a new city, plotting out scenarios for a big life decision, and more. Give Claude a try for free at Claude.com. That's CLAUDE.com. And let us know how you feel the difference.
With the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One, you earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase. And you get big purchasing power, so your business can spend more and earn more. Stephen, Brandon, and Bruno, the business owners of SandCloud, reinvested their 2% cash back to help build their retail presence. Now that's serious business. What could the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One do for your business? Capital One. What's in your wallet? Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus. Terms apply.
I find that it's been hard for me as a podcaster over almost 9 years because I feel like when I interview people and I go deep, that I'm connected to them.
Yep.
But then they're mostly people in the entertainment industry that are full of themselves. So they move on.
Yeah.
But I always still feel connected to them.
Yeah.
Like there's something there. So that does make sense to me.
I can tell you this. I've been on a good amount of podcasts and just the instant, your questions, but also like I do feel it's not like, oh, you just like threw together random questions about the show. Like it's deeper. Like you're asking about my, like where I'm from and my family and like, that's how I feel with my clients. It's like, we're not doing anything surface level here, right? Like people book for themselves. So it's like, how can I be of service? How can I translate this in the best way possible for you? Because it's awesome. Like that's the point of life, I think, is to form connections, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's kind of funny too, because so much of my personality is bold and it's like a justice warrior, and I will kick a door down. My husband says I'm not passive aggressive, I'm aggressive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But then I often feel like I have this double personality because I can be very warm and gooey, and I love to like sit and talk to someone and make them feel like they're heard.
Yep.
So it sometimes it doesn't feel congruent.
Yes. So Aries is the warrior. It's ruled by Mars, which is the fighter. So Aries, every zodiac sign has a role. Like there's obviously so much to each sign, but they all have a role. Aries is the first zodiac of the calendar. It's the real start of the year. It's the spring equinox. So think of Aries as like number one. The light bulb just turned on. It's fresh. It's energized. It's ambitious. It has so much that it wants to do. So it's a lot of energy. And so think of Aries. I always just think of Aries as like they're here to just push energy forward. They're here to just start projects and keep things going. But they have so much energy that when things get out of alignment, they're going to be bold and they're going to tell you how they feel, and they're not afraid because they are excited to be here and they want to do all that they can. They don't have time to experience a lot of pushback. So they're just going to say it how it is. However, but then your Libra side, it's kind of funny. They're opposites. So you have your sun and moon are opposites, which also means you were born during a full moon, which is really, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? And by the way, when you'll find out when you have babies that when you're pregnant, it's hard to get into the hospital to deliver if there's a full moon because so many women go into labor full moon. The full moon causes labor.
And that makes sense because the moon is the mother and it's the feminine planet. And when we're at a full moon, it's the peak. It's the peak moment. That's crazy. That's such a fun fact. So yeah, for you being born on a full moon, also that just elevates your intuitive clairvoyancy, ability to feel, because the moon was at its fullest when you were born. But Aries, so you're an Aries sun, which is like passionate, fiery, bold. And then you're Libra, which is opposite Aries. It is all about love and peace, but justice. So I feel like Libras get taken advantage of sometimes, like stereotypically of like, oh, they're just a lover. They can be a bit of a people pleaser. But it's literally because they deeply understand they're the bridge. So they bring together. It's like, I see why you would feel that way and why you would feel that way. Let's find common ground. Let's bring peace. So you do have this like bold Aries that's like not afraid, but then you have this Libra moon that like wants justice and wants the underdog to win or to be heard. So yeah.
Interesting.
So my favorite thing to talk about in astrology is like your soul's purpose. Which is this little guy right here. We also have this placement is the same for both of us. But in astrology, it's called the North Node. You can think of it as a North Star. It is not the North Star. I don't want to confuse anyone, but you can think of it as like it's the North Node, and it's not a planet, but it's a little point that's calculated that represents where we're going. It's the idea that like we have never mastered this area of life before. So in this lifetime, this is what our soul is working to master. So for you, your North Node is living in your 8th house, which is actually the house of, I call it the haunted house, because this is where we see things like psychics and mediums and tarot astrologers. Yeah. And also psychology. And also just like the 8th house is, I call it the haunted house because most people don't want to go in. But when we have planets there, which here's your moon, by the way, and then there's Pluto, but you have a lot going on in your 8th house. So you're being pulled into the haunted house, like whether you like it or not. It's emotionally pulling you into this haunted house, meaning that you are connecting with people on a deeper level. You're getting hidden insights, hidden messages. You're connected to that 8th house, right? Like emotionally. That's where you're receiving your guidance and your insight is through a different realm than most people.
Interesting. Makes sense to me, though.
I want to show you this because this is a really important thing for again, both of us, because we're Pisces risings. But this is like, since we have we're very different, but we have a similar chart setup, meaning the moment we were both born, we both met Pisces first. That's why it's our rising sign. So we're both moving through our entire life in a very Piscean way. Very intuitive, very spiritually connected. We're not really operating on the same wavelength as everyone else. It's different. And it's not easy because we live in a physical world, right? With schedules and responsibilities, where Pisces is like, I'm just going to do what I feel. But anyway, so currently in the current astrology, that North Node that I was just telling you about, not to confuse you, yours is always in Libra in that 8th house, pulling you to form deeper connections with people. But outside of your birth chart, with the current astrology, there's always transits, meaning planets, positions, they're always transitioning and it's moving around at all times. So the North Node currently has entered Pisces, and it entered Pisces in January of 2025. This is a big deal because, again, the nodes, it pulls energy towards. Think of it as like it's increasing something. So we're moving towards something. So because the North Node moved into both of our rising signs this year, January, over the next 2.5 to 3 years, you and I both, and anyone who's a Pisces rising or has like major Pisces placements, the focus is on us right now. The focus is going to be new beginnings, new opportunities. Things are going to be happening that is expanding your, I don't know, like life experience in some way.
Thank God.
Right. Right. No pressure, no big deal. I know. I was like, I had to tell you about this because I mean, it is a big deal. The other good thing that's kind of fun is you actually just went through your Jupiter return. You're still going through it, but at the end of this month, or no, sorry, June 9th. June 9th. So you still have a little bit of time. Jupiter will be leaving your 4th house where it is. That's Jupiter right there. And Jupiter is currently like right here hanging out. He will be moving into Cancer. This is really exciting for you as a mom because Cancer rules the mom. Cancer is the mom. And the 5th house is where we see children. It's funny. Jupiter expands things and Jupiter brings opportunities. So I feel like this next, like June 9th, which by the way, Jupiter hangs out in a sign for about a year. So Jupiter will be moving into Cancer for a year. And so I feel like there's going to be a lot of big, exciting things happening within your children and probably within your own art form, because the 5th house is where we play. It's a really positive, fun house, and Jupiter just expands things. It's a really abundant, positive planet. So Jupiter moving into the 5th house, you might get some more, what is the word? Like creative opportunities, or maybe you're like being asked to be on a show or to do something that feels just really creative and fun. And then I think because I know you're a mom and have children, like that'll probably also be an area that gets a lot of attention and focus. Like they're doing some cool stuff, or I feel like you as a mom, you're just going to be feeling a lot of like pride and just even comfort. And just it might feel, if anything, it might feel a little bit like you're being pushed out of your comfort zone, and it could feel like overwhelmed. Like that's the only thing that Jupiter can just make us feel a little like overwhelmed, but like it's all good things. So trust and say yes to opportunities. Yeah.
Well, this is such a cool experience. And I love that on your podcast, you're affording people the opportunity to crack themselves open and kind of look at their chart and kind of figure out how it all maps out. But there are people that are listening to this and would love the opportunity to do this with you. And I have to say the benefit, again, is just really spending time with you. And I think you're very good at your job because you're a great listener, but you also are so happy for other people. And I think that would be such a special experience for them. So how could they reach out to you to do it as well?
Thank you. That's so sweet. www.allylewber.com is my website, and that's where I have my readings listed. And then StarStruck is StarStruck. It's on Instagram. And then Ally Lewber is just my Instagram page too, where I feel like Instagram is kind of where I update my, like I'll post on my stories, like, oh, I'm opening up readings again this month, or like little things like that. So following on Instagram is probably the best way to get updates or to like know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like that platform the most.
Well, I think you're going to get flooded.
Thank you.
Be ready. Be ready. I'm so grateful for your time and for your gift. And I'm excited for all the things that are headed your way. And you know what? Lastly, I want to say, it's not easy for someone to go on a reality show. It is not easy to be someone who went through an abusive situation on a television show. And people have their opinions. And I think you have done a marvelous job navigating a difficult situation. And I think ultimately your message of moving forward, introspection, doing the work is going to be enormously helpful to so many people.
Thank you. That means so much to me. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I know I'm like we're like both like, this was great. We have to stay connected.
Oh, we will. Trust me.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest, Ally Lewber, and remind you to click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. Please check out my bonus episodes on my Patreon at patreon.com/Kate Casey. You can get my what to watch list, what to watch in unscripted TV by going to katecasey.substack.com. And check out my social media. I'm on Instagram at @KatecaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. And I hope that you check back tomorrow for an all-new episode. And do not miss this upcoming Saturday series episode as well.
At Hotels.com, we know some travelers crave an ocean breeze. Others don't want to deal with sand. And oftentimes, those two people end up together. Compare properties side by side to find yourself poolside, oceanside, and still in a relationship. Find your perfect somewhere with Hotels.com.